Once again, good morning to all of you. I want you to sit with alert position, sit straight. Okay. Take down a notebook and note down what I am going to say. From today onwards, I will be interacting with CA Inter 46th regular batch students on regular basis. And whatever I am going to say, it's purely meant for with respect to the preparation, how you need to prepare various subjects. My main focus will be on helping you to prepare this much huge syllabus in a very scientific and easy manner. So I want all of you to note down whatever I'm going to say in a separate notebook and try to implement at least a few points of them on regular basis. Now, let us see what is the agenda of today's meeting. So today's agenda is how we need to interpret a problem, how we need to understand a problem. So frankly speaking, this is one of the important skill required to score wonderful marks in problematic subjects. You note pretty well what is the significance of problematic subjects in CA course. I don't think you might have observed it. At least 50% of the marks in your public exams will be from problematic subjects. Why problematic subjects are very important for us? It's very scoring. It helps you to come out of aggregate problem. If you are not good at problematic subjects, it's not so easy to score aggregate marks. So that's why everybody must score wonderful marks in problematic subjects. Now, for scoring good marks in problematic subjects, we must inculcate one habit of understanding the problem properly. So this video is meant for the students of all the courses. It's not only meant for CA Inter, CMA Inter, CA Final, and students of all levels of CA and CMA courses. So I'm targeting those students. So why shall I watch this video? With the help of this video, you can know how to interpret a problem and what is the significance of spending some quality time on understanding the problem. So what I noticed is large number of students in the examination, the moment they read the problem, they start answering on the paper, which is not at all a correct approach. You must wait. You have to give some quality time to understand the problem, to interpret the problem, and then start solving the problem on paper. When you read the same problem for the second time, you will definitely be able to identify some more areas which you have not noticed in the first reading. So what we need to learn from this? Read the problem twice. Then why don't you note it down? That is one important quality you require. So in the examination, when you start writing the exam, so don't jump into any conclusion before reading the problem twice. In the first reading, you may not be able to understand everything, but when you read it for the second time, you will start getting some more clarity. Next one, after that, understand it. Understanding means the literal meaning. Understanding the problem means the literal meaning. It's a simple translation. And the third one is interpreting. Interpreting means understanding is different, interpretation is different. That is analyzing. Interpretation is something like analyzing, trying to understand the problem in a different manner, try to understand the problem in various dimensions and trying to visualize the answer. You need to visualize the answer in your mind. That is called interpretation. So there will be three stages in solving a problem. First, you need to read. Next one, understand. Third one is interpretation. So today I am going to teach you that skill, how to read, how to understand, and how to interpret a problem. Now, at the end, start solving the problem on the answer sheet given in the exam. Remember, majority of the time you need to spend on the initial 4 stages, and the last stage is solving the problem on answer sheet. Don't be in a hurry to solve it on paper. So you better do all the prior steps without skipping anything, and the chances of getting the correct answer will be very high in the public exam. So let me take one example and try to explain you the same, how to understand and how to interpret the same. So I will read this problem twice. As I've already told you, don't jump into any conclusions in the first reading. You need to read the problem at least twice. Now let us first try to read the problem. The next stage is understanding. The next stage is interpretation. Now first stage is reading the problem. Swastik Limited manufactures a special purpose machine tools have two divisions which are periodically assisted by visiting team of consultant. Here we need to understand the meaning of a technical word consultant. Who is this consultant? He is not our employee. He is not our employee. He is an expert. He is an expert. He is a freelancer. So he will give you some advice. Next one. The management is worried about the steady increase of expenses in this regard over the years. What is the meaning of this? Why the management is worried about? As these expenses are increasing year on year. An analysis of last year expenses reveals the following. Okay. Consultant remuneration 2.5 lakhs. Travel and conveyance 1.5 lakh. Accommodation expenses 6 lakhs. Boarding charges 2 lakhs. Special allowances 50,000. Total is 12 lakh 50,000. The management estimates accommodation expenses to increase by 2 lakhs annually over the next 5 years. As part of the cost reduction drive, Swastik Limited is proposing to construct training center to take care of the accommodation requirements of the consultants. This center will additionally save the company 50,000 in boarding charges and 2 lakhs in the cost of executive training program hitherto conducted outside the company premises every year. The following details are available regarding the construction and maintenance of the new consultants center. So land at a cost of 8 lakhs is already available, owned by the company, will be used. Construction cost of 15 lakhs including special furnishings. Cost of annual maintenance 1 lakh 50,000. Construction cost will be written off over 5 years being the useful life. Assuming that the written off of construction cost as aforesaid will be available for the tax purposes, the tax rate will be 50% and the desired rate of return is 15%. You are required to analyze the feasibility of the proposal and make the recommendations. I just read the problem. That's it. I have not explained you anything. This is what you are supposed to do in the exam for the first time. Initially, read the problem once. So, may you know to which chapter this problem is related to? Investment decisions. What is that we need to compute right now? Is it NPV or IRR? Reading the problem, what is your initial conclusion? So what he is asking us to do? To tell whether it is feasible to construct the project or not. So based on the information provided, am I required to compute the NPV or the IRR? NPV. By understanding the given information, what we can conclude is we need to compute the NPV. Now, let us try to read the same problem for the second time so that we can understand the same in a better manner. So, Swastik Limited manufactures a special purpose machine tools have two divisions which are periodically assisted by visiting teams of consultants. Now, my question is, whenever we invite such kind of consultants, so based on your own common sense, may you know what will be the expenses we need to incur? First, we need to pay the remuneration. Am I correct or not? Since they are not our employees, it's not salary, it's called remuneration. So sometimes it is even called as honorarium. So honorarium, remuneration, salary, all these are different words. So we need to pay remuneration for their services. What are the other expenses we need to incur? So second one, we need to meet the travel expenses. Am I correct or not? Either it is a train or airfare, we need to provide the traveling expenses. Next one, we need to provide some accommodation locally. So we need to take some hotel room on rent and we need to pay rent for that hotel room. So we need to provide some accommodation. Next one, we need to provide food. We need to bear the cost of food. Since they are our guests, we need to take care of their accommodation, we need to take care of their traveling, and we need to take care of their food. Next one, what is that the company wants to do now? What is that company is worried about? increasing cost of these consultants. Since we are relying on the services of consultants, the cost is increasing day by day. Now they want to construct their own consultancy center, so that we can take care of all these things. Let us see what is that this consultancy center is going to do. So the management is worried about the steady increase of expenses in this regard over the years. An analysis of last year's expenses reveals the following. Okay. Consultants remuneration. How much we need to incur? 2,50,000. Travel and conveyance, 1,50,000. Next one, accommodation expenses, 6 lakhs. Boarding charges, 2 lakhs. Special allowances, 50,000. So first one, consultant remuneration, 2,50,000 we need to pay. Travel and conveyance. What is the fundamental difference between these two? In your accounting terminology, is there any fundamental difference between travel and conveyance? Yes, there is a difference. Then what is the, if there is no difference, what is the need to provide two different words? They might have simply given traveling expenses. But here they used the word traveling and conveyance. So traveling means something, the expenses incurred to make the consultant to come from other location to our location. Whatever the expenses we incur for making the consultant to come from some other place to our place. For example, the person needs to come from Hyderabad, then whatever the expenses incurred to travel from Hyderabad to Guntur is called travel expenses. Next one, conveyance means. So what is the expenditure that we need to incur on travel and conveyance? 1,50,000. What about the remuneration we need to pay? 2,50,000. Next one. Let us say, what is the next expenditure we need to incur? So accommodation expenses. How much is that? 6 lakhs. What is the next expenditure? Boarding charges. What is that? Food expenses. In this context, boarding charges means food expenses. So somewhere you might have seen lodging and boarding. So wherever you see the word boarding, that means food facility is also there in the same premises itself. In some of the hotels, food facility will not be there. That means attached restaurant will not be there. When restaurant is also attached to it, then it is called boarding. So that's why you can see in the name board, lodging and boarding. So where this restaurant is not attached, they will say only lodging. There is no facility of boarding. So here boarding charges means food expenses. So in just a few minutes, I will tell you what is the purpose to know the meaning. So without knowing the meaning, you cannot come to right conclusions. So within just a few minutes, I will tell you why you shall know the meaning of each and every word. Next one, special allowances. Since they are coming from outside, we need to pay some more allowances so that they can stay and provide services to us. How much is that? 50,000. Okay. Next one. The management estimates accommodation expenses to increase by 2 lakhs annually over the next 5 years. That means these accommodation expenses are increasing at the rate of 2 lakhs per annum. Okay. As a part of cost reduction drive, the company wants to reduce the expenses. As a part of cost reduction drive, Swastik Limited is proposing to construct a training center. So let us construct our own building. Let us construct our own hotel where we can provide accommodation as well as food for all our consultants. Instead of making them to stay in a private hotel, why can't we construct our own building? So what happens? We can save some expenses because the target is to reduce our expenses. To take care of the accommodation requirements of the consultants, this center will additionally save the company 50,000 in boarding charges. That means you will get a saving. How much of saving? 50,000. In what? Boarding charges. Why? Why savings? Here we shall know the meaning of boarding charges. If you want to understand this sentence, you must know the meaning of boarding charges. Boarding charges means food. So till now we are providing food from outside, but now we will cook the food at the training center and we will provide the same to our guests. automatically there will be reduction in some expenses. Earlier it used to be 2 lakhs. Now it will be 1,50,000, since there is a savings of 50,000. So now you might have understood why we shall know the meaning of that word. Unless you know the meaning of boarding charges, how can you conclude that? So why this savings is happening? Next one. And 2 lakhs in the cost of executive training program hitherto conducted outside the company premises every year. What is the meaning of this? To understand the meaning of this, you must know the meaning of a word called hitherto. Hitherto means till now. Ippati varaku. Ippati varaku. So till now you might be in a wrong notion that if my English is not good, I can still perform well in problematic subjects. It's wrong. It's wrong. Even for better performance in problematic subjects, you must focus on improving your communication skills, especially vocabulary. You must know the meaning of each and every word given in the problem. So what you learned from this discussion? Vocabulary is very important. Whenever we find a new word, you shall identify the meaning of the same in a dictionary. So here hitherto means till now. Now tell me the meaning of that sentence. If we construct the training center, we will have some savings. What is that saving? Every year we are conducting training programs to our managerial staff. How much is the savings that we can get by giving that the same training in our own premises? 2 lakhs. Where we are conducting this training program till now? Outside. So now we will be conducting the same in our own building. As a result, we can save around 2 lakhs. Next one. So the following details are available during the construction and maintenance of the new center. First one, land at a cost. What is the cost of the land? 8 lakhs. Good. Construction cost is how much? 15 lakhs, including special furnishings. What is this furnishings? Furnishings is a broad word which includes furniture, curtains, and all other interiors. Everything inclusive is called as a single term called furnishings. So we are not only constructing the building, we are taking care of all the interior design aspects also. For that, how much we need to incur? 15 lakhs. Okay. Cost of annual maintenance cost? 1,50,000. Since it's our own building, we need to take care of the maintenance also. So construction cost will be written off over 5 years, being the useful life. What is the useful life of this building? 5 years. Assuming that the write-off of construction cost as aforesaid will be available for tax purposes. What is the meaning of this sentence? Will be available for tax purposes. So it is an indirect indication of method of depreciation to be followed. Is there any clue in the problem with respect to the rate of depreciation? 10%, 15%, 20%. So anywhere in the problem, have you noticed the rate of depreciation being given? No. Then what should be the rate of depreciation? If nothing is mentioned, straight line method of depreciation. There is one more clue hinting straight line method of depreciation. Can you identify that clue? Write-off. Write-off. There is a word called write-off that indirectly indicates straight line method of depreciation. So assuming that the write-off of construction cost, write-off word is generally used when in case of straight line method of depreciation, will be available for tax purposes. Why this sentence is given? Will be available for tax purposes. Is straight line method of depreciation allowed as per income tax? No. What is allowed? WDV method of depreciation. But what is the sentence giving there? Assume that straight line method is allowed as per Income Tax Act. That's an indirect indication being given to us. The tax rate will be 50%. And the desired rate of return is, what is this desired rate of return? So desired rate of return or cost of capital. It's not IRR. IRR is the actual rate of return that you get. What is this? Cost of capital. That is the minimum rate of return which you are expecting to get. Then only you will be ready to invest in the project. If you get less than 15% rate of return, then you will not be ready to invest in this project. That is nothing but also known as cut-off rate also known as cost of capital. In what way this is different from IRR? In what way this is different from IRR? IRR is the actual rate of return which you are getting. If I get less than 15%, I will not invest. If I get more than 15%, I will invest. But 15% is the minimum rate I should get, which is an indirectly indication of cost of capital. Now, let us try to answer the same. Get ready with the notes. First, let us try to calculate present value of cash outflows. That's how we need to compute the NPV. First step will be present value of cash outflows. Can you identify what will be the outflows of this project? In accounting language, what I am trying to ask is capital expenditure. What is the capital expenditure I need to incur in this project? That is my question. First one, note it down. First, we need the land. Am I correct or not? Note it down. Cost of land. How much? 8 lakhs. Next, we need to incur amount on construction. So note it down. Construction cost, including furnishings, 15 lakhs. Cost of land is 8 lakhs. Construction cost, including furnishings, is 15 lakhs. Total is, okay. This is a blunder mistake. It's completely wrong. It's completely wrong. Remember, you are not doing accounting. You are doing financial management. In accounting, our duty is to consider each and every expenditure, each and every inflow, each and every outflow. But what we are going to do in financial management? Decision making. What we are going to do is decision making. In decision making, certain expenses are irrelevant. That means they needs to be ignored. While taking decisions, we need to ignore certain expenses. One such expense is, note it down, sunk cost. There is a technical word called sunk cost. తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే అయిపోయింది ఏదో అయిపోయింది, దాని గురించి ఆలోచించొద్దు. ఆల్రెడీ అయిపోయిన ఖర్చుని మీరు కన్సిడర్ చేయొద్దు. నౌ టెల్ మీ, ఆర్ యూ పర్చేసింగ్ దిస్ ల్యాండ్ ఫర్ ద పర్పస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ప్రాజెక్ట్? నో. దట్ ఈస్ హౌ యూ నీడ్ టు చెక్ whether it is a sunk cost or incremental cost. Incremental cost means we need to incur only if this project is implemented. Sunk cost means that was already done. Whether you accept this project or not, you cannot take back that decision. That decision is already over. You cannot get back money just because you have decided to start the project. You cannot get back money just because you have decided not to continue the project. So whether you continue this project or not, that decision is already over. And that kind of expenditure is called sunk cost. In this particular case, cost of land is a sunk cost. Now what you need to do? You need to ignore. You need to ignore. So cost of land is 0. Reason, within the brackets you mention the reason. Sunk cost. The decision is already over. You cannot change the decision by accepting or rejecting this project. How to identify whether it is a sunk or incremental cost? Very simple. Can we take back that? Are we incurring it just for the sake of project? No. Then it is sunk cost. Next one. Cost of construction cost is 15 lakhs. Is it sunk cost? No. Why? We need to incur only if we accept this project. If we don't want to accept this project, we need not incur the construction cost of 15 lakhs. And that kind of cost is called incremental. In financial management, while taking a decision, we need to consider incrementally. Other costs we need to ignore. Okay, construction cost 15 lakhs including special furnishings. It is incremental in nature. That's why we have taken. So right now we are computing present value of cash outflows. Now my question is, while calculating the present value of cash outflows, we have ignored the cost of land. Why? Sunk cost. We have considered the construction cost of 15 lakhs. Why? incremental in nature. Now my question is, shall I need to consider annual maintenance cost or not? In the first step of present value of cash outflows, the name itself says present value of cash outflows. So its main purpose is, what is the initial investment I need to make for accepting this project? Is this investment or expenditure? I don't know where you learned that annual maintenance cost is an investment. Annual maintenance cost is a expenditure. Why? Is it revenue or capital? Revenue. Since it is a revenue in nature, it has to be considered as expenditure. So where will you consider expenditure in your accounts? P&L account. P&L account. So step 1 is not P&L account. Step 1 is only investment. How much I need to invest? Investment is nothing but capital expenditure. Since this is a revenue expenditure in nature, how can you count it while calculating the capital expenditure? So the simple principle we need to remember is, step 1, we need to consider only capital expenditure or capital receipts. For example, you may receive some subsidy from the government. Is it capital receipt or revenue receipt? Capital receipt. Then you need to deduct it from step 1. So step 1, we need to consider only capital expenditure and capital receipts. That's all. So if you know this, there is no chance of doing mistake in the public exam. Now, step 1 is over. How much is the total? 15 lakhs. Have you found any other capital expenditure in this problem? Any capital expenditure? Because if it is capital, we need to consider in step 1. Otherwise, we need to consider in step 2. That's why I'm asking, have you noticed any other capital expenditure in the problem? Can you identify me any other capital expenditure? Any other capital expenditure? No. Okay. Now step 2. Step 2. Present value operating cash inflows. Step 2 is present value of operating cash inflows. The name itself suggests. The name itself suggests. These are the amounts that you received through day-to-day operations. Amount that you receive through day-to-day operations is called operating cash inflows. Now tell me, what are the items we need to consider here? Only revenue expenditure and revenue receipts. Revenue expenditure and revenue receipts. This is something like profit and loss account. The step 2 is very much similar to profit and loss account. Now, first of all, we need to solve this problem using incremental approach. What is this incremental approach? What is this incremental approach? What will happen if this project is not implemented? What will happen if the project is implemented? The difference between these two is called incremental. The difference between these two is called increment. Even in step 1, we followed the incremental approach. So what will happen if we don't implement this project? Even then, land is already there. Land 8 lakhs is already there. What will happen if you implement? Even then, you need not spend anything for land. That's why we have taken it as 0. That's why we have taken it as 0. If the project is not implemented, land cost is 8 lakhs. If the project is implemented, land cost is 8 lakhs. That's why the difference is 0. What about the construction? Construction. If you implement the project, you need to spend 15 lakhs. If you don't implement, 0. The difference is 15. That 15 you have considered. This is called incremental approach. It's very easy to identify the cash flows. The difference between when the project is implemented and the project is not implemented. Now, applying the same logic, tell me what will be the expenses if the project is implemented. What will be the expenses if the project is not implemented? I just know the difference. Shall we identify one after another? Okay. What will be the first expenses that we need to incur? Consultant remuneration. Now tell me, what will be the remuneration to be paid to consultant if we don't implement this project? 2,50,000. If I implement this project, same 2,50,000. Someone told 4,50,000. Can you justify why 4,50,000? Can you justify why 4,50,000? Here you need to apply the common sense. Here you need to apply the common sense. Let us assume you are invited as a chartered accountant for some consultation by a company. Will your remuneration differ if the accommodation is provided in a hotel or if the accommodation is provided in a guest house? Are you going to change your remuneration? No. That is the common sense point. And nowhere mentioned in the problem that there will be difference in the remuneration if we construct our own building. Is there any clue in the entire problem? Can you show me that clue? I have not found any such clue. Then why you said 4,50,000? May I know? Present value of operating cash inflows, simple statement, 2 columns, one is particulars, another one is amount. Now, tell me, consultant's remuneration, how much you need to write? 0. What you need to write is 0. This is called incremental approach. What is the amount that you need to consider? The difference between the expenditure when the project is not implemented and his remuneration if the project is not implemented, 2.5 lakhs. How much is remuneration if the project is implemented? 2.5 lakhs. Then what is the benefit that you are going to get by constructing this project? 0. So don't forget, here we need to consider the benefits and extra cost we need to incur by implementing this project. What is the extra benefit that you will get by implementing this project? When it comes to remuneration, it is 0. No increase in expenditure, no decrease in expenditure. Technically, this is called common cost. Note down the word common cost. The cost will remain same whether the project is implemented or rejected. That kind of expenses needs to be ignored. What is the other expenses which we need to ignore? Sunk cost. Sunk cost. Where did you learn this? Step 1. Step 1, we already noticed that sunk cost has to be ignored. So here we learned one more expenditure which we need to ignore. That is common cost. What is the meaning of common cost? The cost will remain same whether we accept the project or reject the project.